Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today, as this is a Monday podcast episode where we focus on a particular astrological topic or theme. And today we're going to discuss the energetics of the Cancer Solstice, known as the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere and the winter solstice in the southern hemisphere. The solstice will be exact Friday, June 20th at 10:42 p.m. Eastern Time. This is when the sun enters Cancer and begins the next season of the year. Cancer is a cardinal water sign that initiates the flow of movement, growth, development, and what is ready to blossom based on what was initially planted back at the spring equinox when the sun entered Aries and began this new cycle. Of course, we know this is an annual cycle, and yet every year the energetics are different, especially as we look at it through the lens of astrology. Now, this solstice has a lot more push to it because astrologically we are working with the squares between Saturn and Neptune in Aries squaring Jupiter and the sun in Cancer. And this is a square that also coincides with the third Jupiter-Saturn square, which was exact June 15th, and then also lines up with the upcoming Cancer new moon on June 25th that involves the same dynamic square. So we're going through a process here that's unfolding across the second half of June, and yet the solstice is a peak point in the energy. Now, I am going to reference it as the summer solstice simply because more of the globe's population resides in the northern hemisphere, so that would pertain to many of you. However, I want to acknowledge that I know many of you are in Australia, New Zealand, and the southern hemisphere. And this is your winter solstice. So I will touch on that too, but I want to acknowledge that I'll be focusing mostly on the summer solstice energies. The word solstice is derived from the Latin word sol, sun, and sistere, to stand still. It's the point in the sun's journey where it appears to pause and come to a standstill. It also reaches the most northerly point relative to the celestial equator. So basically, the sun gets to its highest point in the sky and pauses during the summer solstice, and then does the same 6 months later with the winter solstice, where it is at the most southern point and also pauses. So every solstice is a pause. And this is different than the two equinoxes that we experience when the sun crosses the celestial equator and we experience equal periods of daylight and nighttime. So at the summer solstice, we're at a peak of light that requires a pause. And I feel that this is extra significant here in 2025 because of all the dynamic changes we've been required to work with, work through, align with, what has come up for you that has changed or shifted in very pivotal ways. For many people, 2025 is a life-changing year, which is where we are being guided to go higher in our crystalline bodies, to hold more light, which means we also have to be willing to let go of what no longer serves us, what that density is, those old ways of being, perhaps previous versions of self, previous versions of consciousness. But think of it in terms of the energetics of how this year has been pushing you to evolve and grow, taking us out of comfort zones, requiring us to squeeze out parts of ourselves that are not meant to move forward into the new paradigm of energies. So this is, of course, personal to all of us. And it could be that you've been feeling that pressure and squeeze. So I do want to acknowledge that, as it could help you see that many others are going through the same, and they don't quite know where it goes or where it lands or exactly how the next steps line up. But this is a powerful point in the cycle to pause in the light of your own source energy and allow yourself to receive more of the downloads, guidance, and light streams that are available at the summer solstice. With the sun being so vibrant and potent, there is an increase in the light codes and also a lot more neutrinos flowing through because of how the sun is in the sky for longer. In fact, a year ago, we did the Midnight Sun astrology cruise, and we left from Reykjavik, Iceland, and we experienced the midnight sun, which is where the sun never fully set. It went down for about an hour just below the horizon and then came right back up, meaning it was never fully dark or black outside. It was still flooding the landscape, the environment, everything with that sunlight, which means a lot more neutrinos are coming through that we're feeling and experiencing. And then, of course, on the opposite side of the globe, it is the reverse experience, as you have the winter solstice with the less amount of light that balances out the light you experienced back during the Capricorn solstice of December 20th and 21st. That's when those in the southern hemisphere had the most amount of light. And I feel that this is an example of how the planet is always balancing itself. There are always energetics in play that keep a balance in motion, so that where it's dark somewhere, it's also really bright somewhere else. And this can also help you tap into ways of balancing your own energy system. And part of the brilliant wisdom of the universe, that it's never dark for long, right? It's always darkest before the dawn, but that the energy is always in motion. And those long, cold days won't last forever. The sun always returns and the light always expands. So in the southern hemisphere, you also have this experience of a pause, of stillness, but it's more internal because the energies are guiding you into yourself to listen to what you're feeling and sensing, and to connect more personally with what is happening within you that is requiring your attention and perhaps whispering more wisdom and understanding for you to work with. So regardless of where you are on the planet, the solstice is a time to pause, whether you pause in the bright light streams of the sun or you pause in the beautiful cocoon of the Earth's womb. It all has a purpose and it's all part of a bigger process. So this pause is needed. It's also the pause of receptivity as the sun moves into Cancer and we are ready to connect with more of what we need, what we're feeling, and where we need some rest and downtime. The sun moving into Cancer shifts the energy from the busy, active, restless energy of Gemini, in which we did have a rather big Gemini season since we just had Jupiter completing its time in Gemini as well. You could have felt like there was a lot to do, to follow up on, to get done, to think about, decide, figure out. There's a lot of motion and activity with Gemini, and then the energy transitions into Cancer. And remember that every sign in the zodiac is very different from the one before and after it. But when they harmonize and appreciate each other, when they work together and understand the strengths of the other, that allows for us to move into these new gifts that each one offers. And with this solstice, we have that intense focus on the square, as I mentioned, between the 2 planets in Aries and 2 planets in Cancer. And this is where we are being guided to have a new beginning that takes us out of a comfort zone. But let's acknowledge the fact that comfort zones are beautiful things, and comfort zones have a time and place that we need the downtime. We need what is familiar and easy, and we need to have a place to go where we aren't tested by the external world. So as Cancer season begins, you could feel like this is exactly what you need. Yet with the 2 planets in Aries, there's another part of your consciousness that you're giving birth to that is opening you up to a new way of living your life, of being yourself in the world, moving you into a fresh chapter that is not fully formed. It isn't fully alive, even though you're sensing it. Maybe you're receiving visions around it. Maybe you're understanding what it could be, what it could look like. And this is, of course, your soul bringing you in these heads up messages around what's possible for you next. But honestly, you could feel like, I just need a break. I just need to sign off and take a beat here to understand what has been transpiring for me this year. And so here we are at the midpoint in the calendar year of 2025, and it is appropriate to look at how the energy is running through you, because you might realize you have burnout. You're exhausted, you're overwhelmed, you've been spinning your wheels. Maybe there's a lot that's been going on this year and you haven't even had a chance to catch up with yourself. And Cancer season wants to invite you into that energy that is softer and calmer. And realistically, you might also sense, okay, I'm not going to be able to stay here for long. There's going to be the next thing that shows up that I need to do or that I have to focus on. But right now, where can I just take a minute and connect with what is unfolding for me, and to also ensure that you're aligning it to your best and highest good at this time, to reinforce and energize that so that you're infusing these light streams with your own powerful intention. When I see the square here between the planets in Aries and the planets in Cancer, and yes, I know I've been talking about it a lot because it's a big energy in June, this is a very powerful new beginning that these 2 cardinal signs are forcing us into. And it almost looks like I'm getting the visual of merging onto traffic, and you merge in and you're kind of like, crammed in here. It's a busy road. There's a lot going on, a lot of congestion, but this is how it is right now. And this is where you need to go. And so, yes, it could feel like you're cramming your way into something. Again, it feels slightly tight or unsettled. And the square is working with the masculine of Aries and the feminine of Cancer, and how when they come together and when they're able to both focus on the new start, that's the common energy here. But they're approaching it from different ways, right? Because the Cancer energies are about what feels right, what feels good. There can be more hesitation, uncertainty, and inconsistency with the Cancer energies. Cancer wants to move ahead when it feels right and there's support. And then you have the Aries energies, which are more about let's go for it, let's start it, I'm ready. We'll figure it out as we go. And so they're learning what that means to work together with this new start. And so that's why you could feel that push into a log jam and then not know how long it lasts, where it goes next, etc. I feel that part of this intense push between these planets, and because we're talking about the Sun and Jupiter and Saturn and Neptune, we're talking about outer planets working with the Sun. We are merging timelines into a new experience, and we're creating it with our intention, our hearts, our authenticity, our strength, our softness. We're creating it with all these dynamic parts of ourselves that are going to also remove what is not in alignment with that next timeline. So there is a removal occurring as well. And you could be feeling that quite drastically here in June, that you're understanding what you're done with, you're complete with, you're like, I don't have energy for that anymore. I'm not interested in that anymore. This could be through your physical world, clearing out things. It could be emotionally and energetically. You're realizing what you don't want to invest in or put energy towards. And then you're feeling maybe lit up, sparkly, and inspired about what could be next. And this is all beautifully right on time and is bringing you into your powerful creator abilities, which means intention is key. And you don't have to know all the details, specifics, or how, because when you're aligning your creator abilities and your intention with your soul is going to make it clear to you, and your soul is going to line it up. Your soul is going to guide you into what feels correct. And so I feel that part of what this solstice is doing is activating more in our feeling emotional bodies for us to trust, yes, this is what I want to do. Yes, this feels good. This feels accurate. Of course, that's also what Jupiter in Cancer will be activating over the next year. And with the sun here, it's going to be more alive, brighter, and pulsing, a pulsing energy field that you're going to feel. You could feel that if something was showing up that was creating doubt, uncertainty, or fear, that the strong Cancer energy could flood in a new sense of possibilities and remove whatever was preventing you from trusting yourself or moving into the new growth opportunity. We are activating more of our innate power to feel and trust what we're feeling from a higher place. And part of this is that you might not fully understand it in terms of the logical rationale that the mental body wants. And this could be the sense of, well, I don't know why I want to do this, but it feels right. Or I just have a sense I need to do this or I need to do that. And I'm not going to overthink it. I'm going to flow with the intention of it. And this is really powerful when it's used intentionally and when you are deeply connected to this part of your own energy stream. And so the summer solstice is going to activate more of who you are and what you want that supports the new start, that supports what you're headed into. And the more willing you are to receive that very clear, direct guidance from your soul, the easier it's going to be to trust yourself and do whatever needs to be done next. Basically, the summer solstice is a much bigger threshold. It's a much bigger portal, and it's going to intensify and burn away what you're ready to let go of. So keep that in mind too, that with the intensity of the sunlight, that heat is going to be felt, and you might realize there's things that are leaving, evaporating, burning away that you no longer need to hold, you no longer need to carry. And there could be new levels of freedom arising as well. With Saturn and Neptune in Aries, the universe is also bringing your attention to choosing yourself. What do you want? What do you need? This is a lifetime where you can claim that and declare it. This, of course, does not happen every lifetime. And so that's important to acknowledge as well, that this is such a big cycle that you could feel uncomfortable claiming what you want, and you could feel a sense of pullback from yourself. That's how I'm seeing it, where it's sort of like you step forward to the counter and saying, I want this. And then you step back 2 paces and say, wait, is it okay? Can I have that? Is anyone going to be mad at me? Am I going to disappoint anyone? Am I going to let people down? But the thing to remember is that when you're stepping up to the counter and you're claiming it, saying, this is mine, this is what I want, other people have the same opportunity to do that as well. I mean, this is part of the collective energy right now, where we're each being guided to declare more of who we are and what we want at this point in our lives. And as we do so, we give other people the example of the same. So keep in mind that it also is going to bring out leadership qualities in you that maybe you're demonstrating to other members of your soul group, other members of your family, people that you interact with or that you're around. This is a leadership, a self-leadership initiative here, where you're saying, this is who I am. This is what I want. This is my declaration to the universe. Now, because of that, with Saturn here, there are new soul contracts that come alive and come up. And these can be the good kind of soul contracts. Keep that in mind. Because, we talk a lot about soul contracts, don't we? And that we think, they're heavy, they're dense, they're karmic. But there's also the healthy, amazing, love-based, long-term, enduring contracts that we can also agree to, that support who you are and what you want in your life with others who truly see you and know who you came here to be and how you came here to, again, initiate new stages of growth in this lifetime that you haven't been able to create in previous lifetimes. That's also why it's such a big time and why you could feel that push-pull of like, am I allowed to step up to the counter and declare what I want and grab it and get it? Am I allowed to do that? So you could look at your own programming here around what that feels like. If you step forward and you say, this is who I am, this is what I want, this is what I'm ready to create, what comes up for you? Because you might also find that you don't budge, that you stand at that counter and you just solidify and anchor in that energy. Because I'm seeing this as a process where if at first you see yourself stepping back, that's okay, because you're stepping back into previous programming or a previous belief system around what was acceptable for you to create in this lifetime. And the energies, especially into the next half of this decade, brings up what is new for you that is going to align quite magically and maybe even effortlessly, to your own surprise and astonishment. And that could be a brand new imprint for your soul. Because let's be real, we have a lot of imprints that have been around the challenges, density, difficulty, karma, healing, yada, 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 on and on and on. But we are shifting that trajectory. So it comes down to, do you really believe and trust that life can improve, be better, be easier, have more flow, more joy, more love, more happiness, more success, whatever it is that you are desiring? Do you really believe you can create that? Because I feel that the universe is saying that for many of you who have put in your time, you have punched the time clock through multiple lifetimes, you absolutely can, because it's part of what is tracking for the planet's evolution and upliftment, that we need to be in those higher frequencies and to live them, to embody them, and to readily experience them. And in being able to do so, we have to claim, I'm ready for this, I want this, this is ready for me, this is what I'm here to experience now. And I know that so many have been on very long, intense healing journeys. It's been decades, right? You could say it's been most of your life, or that it's been the past 2 decades, 3 decades, whatever that is for you. It's time to change that story. It's time to drop it, complete it, put a bow around it. It's time to set yourself free and to move on. And here in June 2025, we are getting a sample of what that energy could be. Now, Saturn and Neptune are both going to re-enter Pisces, which is where we are doing the final completion work on responsibilities, commitments, expiring soul contracts, old versions of self, and you get the gist. There will still be more to take care of, to tidy up, and to complete in the second half of 2025. But June, July, and August especially are highlighting for you what is now ready for you to energize, initiate, and create. And so it brings up, what old stories, patterns, and paradigms am I moving away from, completing, and ending? And of course, we each do this in our own ways, based on our own real world lifestyles. And the universe is saying, are you ready for the new start? Because a lot of this can't go with you. It's served its purpose. It's taught you a lot. You've experienced a lot, or you learned a lot about yourself, what you desire, what you want, etc. But this is such a big new beginning and a change in the timelines that you're probably feeling it in multiple ways. And the solstice is shining a light on what truly warms your spirit, what warms and lightens your energy field, what allows you to move into more of those crystalline experiences and light codes that you can now hold. You can hold it and anchor it in, perhaps even with more willingness, and feel supported in moving towards this next beginning. So basically, you could be feeling these solar light streams of higher vibrating light codes, neutrinos, and crystalline energies coming in that are validating you and affirming, yes, it's time to begin again. It's time for this new start that is changing the trajectory of my experiences in the physical, emotional, spiritual, and energetic realms. And it coincides with how the planet is evolving, with how the energy here is meant to be changing in powerful ways, and of course, how deeply connected you are to this universal cycle. And so for some people, you might just be feeling it. Even if you have the job you love and you're in a great place to live and you've got an awesome partner or family and kiddos or parents, whatever it might be, those things might be really solid for you. And then you might be sensing how you are being revitalized. You are changing at a deep core level of yourself. So of course, it's always personal and you will have things that are unique to you. But this is a time of big initiation on the planet, and we are being initiated into these higher frequencies, especially during this particular summer solstice. And if you don't know what you want to initiate or create, simply ask the universe to show you possibilities and options. Ask to be guided. Ask for the messages to stream in or to have clarity or a deep knowingness. And know that part of this strong Aries energy is going to bring you into a new start in yourself that requires being more courageous and brave. So I feel like we're activating a deeper sense of courage within ourselves. And keep in mind, we are deeply encoded with that energy because it takes a lot of courage just to show up here in a physical body and to be a part of this transition cycle on the planet. So everyone is courageous, has a capacity to be brave, independent, powerful, and sovereign. And so that's also what's being lit up within us, are new ways to experience those energies, to be more sovereign, and to feel more powerful in doing so. So I hope this particular energy is giving you some brilliant breakthroughs, downloads, and understandings around what you're ready to initiate next in your life and in yourself. I hope it also feels encouraging and uplifting. And even if you have a lot of questions and you're staying in the energy of the mind, allow that to open up so that you can receive new thoughts, information, and details that help you in putting together the picture. And I'm saying that because I see it as a picture, but whatever resonates for you in terms of how you receive your guidance. So yes, the energies might feel uncomfortable. Got to acknowledge that, but it's where the birthing and the growth is happening. And as I say that, I'm now zooming down a timeline that's about 5-10 years from now. And you might look back and be like, yes, 2025, 2026 is when I made an important change in my life that deeply honored more of who I am and what I want now. And it was a catalyst year that I can definitely see in hindsight. So let's acknowledge that your future self is also streaming in messages for you, perhaps giving you guidance, confidence, messages, certainty, power for what is true for you, for what to move towards and create. And so that might be something to tune into as well, as Pluto in Aquarius is requiring us to evolve through the enlightenment of our future self. And if you were to meditate on that or consider that, maybe that will give you even more insight into how to work with a timeline shift or a dimensional change as it unfolds. So this is a bigger solstice than most. The energy is stronger and more powerful. And again, it's designed to move you forward. There's lots of growth here, which certainly involves a lot of change, but the universe is signaling that it is right on time and the new directions forward are presenting themselves now. So as always, I hope this is supportive and beneficial information with whatever you are moving through, and also offers validation for any of the big shifts and changes that you are experiencing, since that is the name of the game here in 2025. In July, we will have Uranus move into Gemini for the first time in 84 years. And some very dynamic connections are happening in August with the outer planets. And it feels very uplifting, flowing, vibrant. So we do have some positive energies happening now and exciting developments to come in the next few months. If you're in my 2025 Soul Growth Astrology program, be sure to log in and catch up on what is unfolding in your chart, since it's a program that is designed to show you what is happening for you this year. We do have the next eclipses in September, but let's not talk about that quite yet. And you can also join this annual program if you want to get caught up on how the year has unfolded for you, what big transits are occurring, and how the eclipses will be working with you in your life in September. I'll put the information below the podcast here, and also a reminder that I have for you free guided meditations if you would like any assistance in calming the mind and adjusting your frequency. These are 4 guided meditations called Soul Bliss Guided Meditations that are available for you to listen to. They're actually shorter meditations designed to fit into a busy life, a busy world, and they're really simple to receive and work with. So I'll put that link below the show too, in case you would like to listen to these 4 guided meditations. As always, thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back every Wednesday and Monday for a new podcast episode. Wishing you a beautiful journey through these solstice energies and light streams, and hoping that you are also feeling alive and supported in the new developments that you're ready for. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you back here soon.